about 150 people, including 17 Americans, are quarantined on a cruise ship off of Africa after a suspected hantavirus outbreak leaves 3 dead and several others sick. Jeff Paul joins us live with more. Jeff.
As of now, local health officials in Cape Verde aren't allowing the cruise ship to dock due to public health concerns. And for the folks who are still stuck on that ship, it only gets more terrifying as each hour ticks by without a solution.
I'm currently on board the MV Hobbyist, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story, headlines. We're people with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home.
Now, the MV Hyundai originally set sail on a weeks-long polar cruise from Argentina to Antarctica. As the ship made its way up the Atlantic Ocean, the crew requested help from local health authorities. So far, 3 people have died during this suspected outbreak of hantavirus. It's a disease that can cause deadly respiratory illness and is usually contracted through particles from rodent droppings or urine. While it's not typically easily spread between people, the World Health Organization is investigating.
Right now, our focus is on treating the patients and keeping the remaining passengers and crew safe. We are working with authorities to understand the source of exposure.
The cruise ship is now working to arrange evacuations for 2 crew members who are showing symptoms of hantavirus, which usually begins with fever and fatigue. There's no specific treatment, but the WHO says the risk to the general public is low. There's no need to panic or stop traveling. Charlie, Ainsley, and Brian.
Jeff Paul, thank you so much.
Like and subscribe for
rejecting a plan to have the cruise ship at the center of a hantavirus outbreak.
Fox 1.
Some breaking news this morning. The leader of the Canary Islands rejecting a plan to have the cruise ship at the center of a hantavirus outbreak dock there. As we also have new information out of South Africa. Authorities there confirming the Andes strain of the virus has been identified in 2 passengers. This is the strain that can be transmitted between humans. The World Health Organization giving an update on the origin of this outbreak, which has killed 3 people so far. Listen.
This was an expedition boat, and many of the people on board were doing bird watching. They were doing, a lot of things with wildlife. So our assumption is they were infected off the boat and then joined the cruise. We do know that some of the cases have had very close contact with each other, and certainly human-to-human transmission can't be ruled out.
And joining me now is physician and former Air Force flight surgeon, Dr. Zaid Fadul, to discuss. Doctor, as a fundamental matter, why is hantavirus so deadly?
Hantavirus is deadly because it's a hemorrhagic disease. And what happens is it breaks down blood vessels, and it breaks down and everything starts to kind of flood and crash in your system. And it ends up having a 35 to 38% mortality rate. So if you think about it from that term, it's pretty terrifying.
Before we get to the cruise ship itself, what symptoms should we be on the lookout for just in general for this hantavirus?
I think it's the same symptoms of the flu. In fact, it's very, very common to be misdiagnosed as the flu early on. People are going to get fever, really high spiking fevers, body aches. They're going to feel muscle aches, and they're going to feel like they got run over by a bus. All that happens in the span of a day. So it can feel pretty overwhelming pretty quickly.
When we start hearing about this Andes strain and the potential human-to-human transmission through this, let's keep in mind, this is a strain that is only found in Argentina and Chile until obviously it then expands, and it is the only known strain to transmit person to person. I hear all that, and it's natural, especially in light of our recent history, to think, is this another pandemic? Is this another COVID? What are you thinking?
I understand people's concern and anxiety. I will tell you that with the amount of attention and focus and effort being put in to contain this, it should keep it contained. It's not like the virus whose name we shall not mention on TV.
Sure.
Hantavirus and the Andes urgency period, people can be infected for 2 weeks before they show symptoms. And then they can stay infected for 3 weeks after they've had those symptoms. So you've got a 6-week window where people are going around potentially spreading the virus. But at this point, we've identified it. You've quarantined everyone. Those people who are, at risk are going to be kept away from the general population. And typically, you have to be in really close contact with somebody, intimate contact, to really pick it up person to person. It's not like measles where you can walk in a room a couple hours after somebody.
Yeah, they were old too.
My suspicion is we've hopefully contained this.
We're looking live now at the ship itself. On the subject of containment, the one word that comes to my mind is quarantine. And I read one report, one doctor saying these folks could be quarantined for up to 8 weeks. You agree with that?
Yeah. I do. Yeah, because at some point,
8 weeks on that ship,
up to 4 to 5 weeks to really guarantee they don't have symptoms. And if they were to develop symptoms and survive, they're still
infected. People getting ushered on and off.
So that's where that 8-week estimate comes from.
What's going on with that?
Long time on that cruise ship.
Doc, a lot of our audience likes to cruise. What's your message to them? Is cruising safe?
Relatively.
I've got 4 children.
I would assume.
Cruising is like the easiest way to go on vacation with small families. The challenge with cruise ships, regardless of what part of the world you go into, is that you're going to be in close contact with lots of people.
True.
Overtime to try and make sure it's as hygienic as possible, clean as possible. But the reality is, anytime you're in any environment with lots of people in a small confined space, you have that risk of any kind of communicable disease. I think personally that cruising is still safe, but I think you always have to take precautions. If you're feeling sick, you shouldn't go on a cruise.
This is Fried TV. We talk about bullshit every day up here. Things that probably won't even benefit us. At least somebody can get up here and make sure that our people are well abrupt about situations that are occurring in the world. And we know how to deal with it because they're not going to tell us. It's up to us to get the resources and make sure that we are educated and properly informed. Now remember this much, y'all. We got to stop listening to people saying stupid things to us just because they have a serious face. Now, what we do know is when the pandemic broke out, it was cholera, Black Plague. These things wiped out entire civilizations and things of that nature. Okay? But we got the COVID-19 and they brought it over here. It was because it was a Chinese guy that had it, so they said, on a cruise ship, which they claimed to quarantine and isolate. But yet it got over here because of a certain variant, a certain strain, which we noticed that it was a whole different name than what the actual virus was. COVID-19 was the made-up name, but that wasn't what it really was. This was the mutated genetic strain that they fused together themselves and they dropped on America for economy purposes. Y'all gotta think smart and use y'all head. At the end of the day, I feel like one thing Trump did say that's real is that ABC, Fox 2, Dateline, all these people who have these like superstars, these particular people that always deliver the mail, that's not the way it goes. When it comes to getting the news, it's a multitude of people, especially when it's real and it's current. But if you notice, they have star-studded hosts. And that's because they're fake news put there to put things into your mind to scare you into buying things when these things aren't really happening in the world. But one thing you can listen to from them that is legitimate is when they're helping the other companies promote their new plagues or vaccines. And they try to do it as if they're reporting news like this just in, we heard about, but they know exactly what's going on because they're the ones promoting it. So now there's another cruise ship that they're talking about keeping on quarantine and isolation for like up to 8 weeks, right? But yet you said that there's a ADES, that's the name of it. Not sure how they pronunciate it, but that's the strain, the variant that was found in 2 or 3 people that are already in the US. And apparently the virus that's on the ship isn't what's bad, but the strain in the people that's already here is what could get us sick.